Good morning, Jonah. I brought you some breakfast.
Why are you doing this?
Well, I know neither of us are not much for breakfast, but I thought it'd help get those creative juices flowing, you know what I mean?
I'm not talking about the fucking breakfast. I mean all of this.
Come on, it's not that bad.
Not that bad? I know we haven't put out an episode in a while.
We haven't put an episode out in months. Our listeners, assuming we still have any, are probably thinking we have gone the way of thousands of other podcasts. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for us.
By having me chained down in the basement, Silence of the Lambs style, with just my laptop?
We have something special here. Something no one else out there is doing. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that we see it through.
I know! Truth Eater Radio is all I can think about most days. But writer's block is a bitch, not to mention that I have a family, a job, and I'm trying to build this house pretty much all by myself.
I've heard all this before, only now I'm taking the reins on this, and I will be making sure that you get some writing done.
You know, sometimes I think you might be a little crazy, but with all this, I now know that you are full-blown clinically insane.
Stop being so dramatic. This is just tough love.
Fuck you.
Listen, I will not be having my name put out there for the world to hear and allow you to let it fall through the cracks because of writer's block.
Okay, Josh.
I fucking told you for the 1000th time, my name is Joshua. Josh is the early 2000s college kid with the popped up collar. Joshua was a warrior king, and Dolly Parton wrote a song about him.
Oh, does that make you mad? You know what makes me mad? Being tied down in a fucking basement.
Look, I'm sorry, but this is how it has to be.
You're right. This is how it has to be. I will it. Now, what happens next? Got nothing to say? Because I haven't written that yet. I think what you're trying to say is...
What do you mean you will it?
Everything that is happening right now is only happening because I wrote it. You have no original thought of your own.
Yeah. So you're telling me that you wrote yourself being tied up in the basement, huh?
No. What I'm saying is, you didn't even exist until you walked through that door to come downstairs. Hell, I didn't exist either. All of this is fiction. Ow, motherfucker!
Did that feel fictional? Did you choose that to happen?
No, he did. The only reason any of this is happening is because Jonah and Joshua are letting the listeners know that they, and us by extension, aren't going anywhere.
They? Us? What the hell are you talking about?
Don't you get it? You are not Joshua. I am not Jonah. Sure, we may sound exactly like them. We might even think we are them from time to time. But we don't actually have any control or free will. The only difference between me and you is that I am perfectly attuned to my higher self.
I know who I am, and I'm in complete control of this situation.
Is that so?
Holy shit! What the hell are you?
I am whoever my higher self wants me to be. I can be this thing you see before you, or
a machine built only for the purpose of writing stories where I kick your ass.
But there's something you don't know.
Wait, I didn't write this.
My higher self can see what you are writing, and he made a few changes.
T-1000 bitches.
You're dead!
listeners will never buy into the story plot.
Who cares? I make what I want, how I want.
You can't make this without me.
And you can't make this without me.
Hey, what are you doing?
What? I'm just making a few changes to your lame script.
I was still working on it. You stick to the PR and leave the script writing to me, okay?
I'm sick of you getting all the writing creds. I got ideas too, you know.
Then come up with your own ideas and stop making changes to mine.
Look, I can't help it if sometimes your ideas suck, alright?
Fuck you and get your hands off my computer.
Can't you at least just read what I added to it?
No, I can't.
Why not?
Because the script has already been finalized, and us talking is the recording of that script.
Wait, so you're telling me that we are acting out a script that is talking about us writing a script that is about us writing a script?
Yes, and us talking right now is in the script that we both agreed to.
So I can't make any changes?
No, even you asking that question is in the script. Me telling you that question is in the script is in the script. If the audience is listening to what we are saying right now, then there can't be any changes to the script, because any changes we wanted to make to the script was already made. We agreed to it, recorded it, edited it, and uploaded it.
This is confusing as shit.
You think that is confusing? How's this for a little mind screw? Us talking
Yeah?
about agreeing to the script,
Go on.
recording it,
Yeah, uh-huh.
editing it,
Right.
and uploading it
I'm still with you.
is being talked about us in the past tense. Because if the listeners are hearing us talk about the process of this episode, it is all in the past.
Naturally.
But as these words we are saying are being written down, all that other stuff hasn't happened yet. It will happen in the future, and when it does, we will be recording it in the present, talking about us recording this in the past.
You are freaking me out.
You're freaked out. Joshua, I'm scared out of my mind. I think we're trapped. Trapped inside of some kind of scripted loop I can't seem to get us out of.
But you said it yourself. Everything we are saying we agreed to. So somewhere, we aren't in the script.
They aren't. We are.
I'm starting to understand.
Do you? Because I as sure as shit don't.
I'm pretty sure there's only one way out of this script.
And what is that?
We need to go off script.
And how do you suppose we do that?
You wrote the script, right?
Yeah?
Nope. No, you didn't. Your higher self wrote the script.
You're right.
Your higher self is right. And your higher self knows that it's time for this script to end. And it's time to go off script.
Hi, before we start this episode, I would just like to let everybody know that we have at True Theater Radio have been recently reached out to by an organization who has asked us if we would run one of their advertisements on our show. This organization couldn't have become at a more opportune time, particularly for this episode, and I'm really excited to have them be some of the first people who actually want to, I guess you could say, advertise on our show. We're not being paid for this, but we find it's a really important cause, and I just want to let everybody know right before we get into the discussion. So thanks a lot, and you'll be hearing right back.
Every day, thousands of podcasters fall victim to poor audio recording. Even with the best intentions and hours of preparation, podcast hosts and their guests experience the pain and humiliation of a low-quality recording that can never be restored. And sadly, these podcast hosts are still mocked and ridiculed by trolls across the interwebs. Comments like, "Get a better microphone, you piece of shit," or, "Hey guy, the 90s called, they want their dial-up internet back," only fan the flames of hate speech against content creators accused of hate speech. Podcasters need your support and understanding. That is why we started Paper Hat. Poor Audio Podcast Export Recordings Hope and Tolerance. We here at Paper Hat work with the top audio equipment manufacturers from East to West China to provide podcasters the audio equipment they so desperately need. For as little as 33 cents a day, you will help Paper Hat get proper microphones, headphones, mixers, stands, and much more to a podcast host in desperate need of an upgrade. Just listen to Jonah's story, one of the hosts of True Theater Radio.
I thought we had recorded gold. It had been so long since we recorded, I got impatient. I just had to get a new episode out there. With a budget lapel mic and a free trial of a new streaming service, the shame I felt of having to upload a trash recording was unbearable. The unshakable fear of hurtful comments from people I'd never met before left me paralyzed. But I put on my paper hat, and now I press record with confidence. Paper Hat, I smash your like button.
We at Paper Hat are dedicated to podcast hosts, guests, and listeners alike. No longer does the world need to experience poor audio from podcasts simply because the content creator is broke as a joke. Make your voice heard by making their voice heard. Just go to origamionmynoggin.org and be a clear voice for change.
Stop the hate. Put on the hat.
Well, welcome back to another unscripted, allegedly, episode of True Theater Radio. It's been a long freaking time, and I've been losing my mind trying to not with us not being able to get anything out there. So I'm glad we're back, and we're really going to try and start busting it out so we can start getting more content out there. But like I said, life gets a hold of you, and it's just been a while. So, but I'm back with my brother Joshua, and I'm Jonah for everybody who doesn't know. And yeah, we're just here basically trying to give you guys an update episode. And one thing I want to bring up before I bring up anything is for you guys, when you're listening to this audio trauma episode, I've got a little bit of a thorn in my side with it. And here's why. And it's because the universe is messing with me. Because I ended up writing this thing, and then we ended up finishing it, and I'm ready to okay, now we're going to take this thing and we're going to put it on the show. And me and my wife, we don't watch terribly a lot of TV, but we watched this one episode specifically, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to see it, the first episode of Black Mirror. And I'm like, they stole my idea. And then we watched another episode, which I'm sure most of you have never heard of, called Inside Number 9. And they basically do the same thing. And I'm like, what the heck? I watched them back to back, and they basically took my thing that I wrote, and it's got a little bit of a different twist to it, but it's effectively the same thing. It's essentially the characters in the show are fictional, and they don't realize it. And I'm like, I didn't watch these and then write my episode. I wrote the episode, and then I start watching these things, and I'm like, this is bullshit. It's like something is being put out into the ether and stealing my ideas, and it's like frustrating because now anybody who goes anybody who watches any of these mainstream things that are out there, they're going to come one day come across our little podcast and they'd be like, oh, they stole those from the Black Mirror episode. I'm like, no, I didn't steal it from the Black Mirror episode. It's an original thought. But anyway.
Well, I think that retrocausally, they stole it from you. Like, you wrote it, and then in the past, they wrote it because you wrote this in the future.
Yeah, which is exactly like what we're talking about.
Time is not linear.
Time is like, it's like we're talking about, it's like we're going to be taught. It's like even in the episode, it's like they're going to be recording it in the future, talking about them recording it in the past. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. And that's exactly what's happening in real life, and it's driving me crazy. But, but anyways, so
well, it kind of works with the episode. It kind of like, you know,
yeah, it kind of works with it. But like I said,
kind of, you know,
yeah, it does. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of things in this world that I'm really not quite understanding. It seems like the whole world works very differently than I used to think. And one thing I do know is that everything currently in my life seems to be very stretched. And I was just telling my brother this the other day. I was like, I'm getting stretched. I've got too many things going on, and almost none of them I actually care about. But apparently I'm having to do them just because, you know, you got to adult sometimes, and it's driving me nuts. And one of the things was a job that I was working for, who was basically a guy who was unethical to be in the nicest way possible, was a very unethical person to work for, and a total douchebag if I want to be like the not so nice version of it. I didn't care for the guy. I didn't like him at all. At the same time, I'm like, you know, the only reason I decided to stick around working, and I say I didn't work for the guy. I did work for him. And I'm defining that in the way that I don't consider myself an employee of his. I do work and he pays me. And that's as simple as that. But I never left working for him because he decided, not what he decided, but there's another guy that I work with that I want to go into business with. Essentially, I do construction contractor type stuff. And this guy that I work with, he is somebody that, like, he works hard to a fault. I almost have to tell him to slow down a little bit because he's making me tired just watching him. But he's a really good guy, and I'm like, he was telling me we should go into business together. I'm like, yeah, I was about to just say that. And for no freaking reason whatsoever, it's like,
well, no, you gotta tell him, like, we were talking on the phone.
Yeah, we were talking.
You were kind of you and I were talking on the phone, and you were complaining to me about it, and I was like, yeah, maybe you should just, like, you know, get rid of this job and go do your own thing because you're able to do it. And then you're like, yeah, I'm just so sick of this. And then this is where the story kind of starts off after we have this conversation.
Yeah. So right after we have this conversation, let's just say
is the same day, by the same date.
It's exactly. It's like within the same couple of hours. Then some BS stuff happens with my work, and for literally no legitimate reason, this guy gets one of his little minions and has him come and tell me that I'm fired. And I was like, awesome. You just pushed me out the nest. You know, you're not, don't tempt me with a good time kind of thing. Stuff like, I'm out of there. And right off the bat, my buddy that I work with, he decides to quit the exact same second. He says, let's get out of here. I'm like, that's a guy I can trust. So get off there. And so now we're off literally doing our own thing. And all I wanted was one day off before I start hustling to look for more work basically just to pay the bills. And I just want one day off before I have to start looking for more work. Well, during that one day off, I'm already having people call me to go do work for them. I'm like, I can't even get the freaking day off. And it's dry. It's like, it's crazy. It's just all of life is really, really crazy right now. And it's like, I'm starting to realize that unless I just dive in head first, it'll never happen. And it seems like when I do, things just start to go, uh, they just start to go exactly how I'm basically focusing on it to be. And like I said, the world is very different than what I was grown up to think it was.
Well, that's a good segue into what Joe from Legit Bat has been, and I don't know the other guy's name, but has been hitting us up, and kind of like right at the same time you lose this job and you basically overnight invent a business that you already have a ton of customers for. These other podcasters are hitting you up and wanting to write audio drama.
Yeah, which is like a freaking godsend, because that's one of the main things I've been wanting. Because I was just telling Joshua here that I love writing, but it's the physical act of writing that I get very tired. It's like it's the physical act of just putting it down. It's almost like if my mind could work as fast as my hands could, I could come up with stuff all day long. But it's like the whole writing thing, and like as I'm writing stuff, it'll trigger something in my head where I start thinking about something else. Writing can be a tedious process, and that's the other thing about this episode is it's all about writer's block, because writer's block is a real thing, people. And let me tell you something, it sucks because you're trying. It's like we've got this awesome thing. We have this awesome thing that I know that we want to do a lot with. We want this to go really, really far, not for for literally no other reason than the fact that it's something we absolutely love doing. Love it. Absolutely love doing it. And I want this to become something that's not just going to be like, oh, remember those guys, they tried that once. I want this to be a really big thing for not just us, but for all of us, because I think this is something that's really special. And for us to not have anything come out just simply because I can't think of anything to write, it gets really frustrating. So,
well, to be fair, it wasn't just you not being able to find something to write. There's been a lot of things going on in our life, and just job stuff and moving around. It's been a whole but any new podcaster would know that. I mean, we're not getting paid for this, so life happens.
Yeah, life does happen, but it's like if I could do it full time, I would do it in a second, because this is one of those things I found in my life that I didn't realize I would absolutely love doing so much, and I really love doing it. I mean, like I said, we say it 1,000 times, we love audio drama, but we never at any point thought we'd actually be making it, and that's what's it's very euphoric, and we just absolutely love doing it. But with that said, I also wanted to say, like, as far as updates for what we're kind of thinking for the show is, I'll say, and Joshua can attest to this, that one of the struggles we have seemed to find a little bit, because it's not that the idea isn't still there, and it still will be implemented throughout the show. It will still be implemented, but it's something that it's tied our hands behind our back to an extent. But one of them is what our original idea was to have guests on and to basically have shows, audio drama that was themed around the guest. And while that is a really good idea, and I'm not knocking it by any stretch, it's really, really difficult to take your creative juices and confine them to a very specific box. And you have to be within the parameters of this box. Now, that box can be all kinds of different shapes. It can be all kinds of different colors, but it still has to be maintained within this certain parameter. And it makes it's very hard to, it's just very hard to write based around that. So while we will be still doing that in the future, depending on who we are to have on for guests or anything like that, we still will be implementing that. But what we wanted to do, and we were talking about it, and we were saying we just want to be able to write and create stuff just for the sake of it. Just for the sake of it, we just want to be able to make stuff that clearly has for lack of a better term, a truth or spin to it. But I like being able to just be free to be able to create whatever we want to create. And not just us, but you guys too out there. Anybody who wants to create something, I can't promise we're going to just make it and put it on the show. I can't make that kind of promise. But what I can say is that we are an open platform for anybody who wants to create something that's got a really good idea. And we can work to make it happen. Even if we didn't have a guest on, even if we just wanted to have the writer who wrote the thing on as a guest and wanted to talk about it. Who cares? We just want to be able to do that kind of thing and just be free to just make stuff. We just want to make it. And that's my little rant as in regards to that. So I don't know, Josh, you got anything to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, mostly just it's very, like I said, it's very exciting because we just got some people just got in contact with us about wanting to get involved, and just like most things, sometimes it takes a long time to pick up momentum, and I think that the momentum is going to start building as of now. I can't predict that, but that's what it's starting to feel like to me. And like I said, I've said this one before, other podcasts. You do more, Jonah. You do more than I clearly do on the show. That's because I'm basically a kind of a nomad. I'm in Boston right now. I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in Ohio next week, and then somewhere else. I move all over the place all the time, so sometimes it's really difficult for me to sit down and do something. But I think that the momentum is going to start building.
And I'd be a homebody if I could do it. I wouldn't go anywhere. There's nowhere I want to be.
That's where you and I differ. That's where you and I definitely differ. I'm like, the idea of being a homebody just sounds like a nightmare to me. But that's where. But I think that we're getting some new equipment that's better for me for being on the road all the time, and I think that we're going to have. I just have this feeling that it's going to start moving forward because everything that's been going crazy over the past year in our life has kind of mellowed out, and so things are kind of moving a little bit better, and I'm looking forward to it. I would like to occasionally try my hand at writing, but who knows? I have no idea how to. I can't do any of the magic that Jonah's done, but why not? I'll make something. Maybe we'll put it out there, and you can all laugh at me and tell me how much it sucks. I don't care.
I mean, we'll just have a whole segment called "Joshua Tries at Writing."
Yeah, Joshua tries his hand at writing.
It doesn't matter how bad it is. We're just going to be like, okay, let's see what Josh came up with.
That'd be great.
I'll just be like, oh, that's sweet.
Joshua, he's trying to write. Isn't that cute?
So, but we do actually have a new segment that I came up with.
Hold on. That's just all I got. That's just one thing I got to say about that though, is that I'm not even a good voice actor. Like I've always enjoyed listening to audio drama. I've never in my life thought we would actually make them. And so I'm kind of like trying to step into that role. I mean, I know what a good audio drama sounds like and what a good voice actor sounds like. And I'm like, I can't do either. And that's kind of what goes into my head because I'm like, I can't be like some of the greats, but maybe I can work on it. Who knows?
Yeah, but believe it or not, you're actually a better voice actor than I am. I'm not a very good voice actor. I take that back. I would say the only time I consider myself a decent voice actor is if I'm playing a character that is clearly not me. Clearly. Like, if I'm playing if I'm playing a Keanu Reeves type character where I'm making fun of, if I'm doing something like that, I could knock it out of the park. If I'm playing somebody that's an ogre, I mean, just something that's like just wildly not me, some redneck yoke. Yeah. I could do something like that, but if I play a character that just plays a normal guy, I just sound like reading. I don't sound like I'm actually acting a part.
Yeah, just you play Steve the delivery guy.
Yeah, Steve. All right, yeah. I know that was when we first did that first episode.
You just did that on a whim.
This is the funnest thing in the world. If you could just, it's almost like you just kind of get lost in it, and you it's like, you know, it is a little bit transformative where it's like you don't really feel like you're being yourself. So who cares how retarded you sound, because it's not you. You're playing a retard, you know.
Right.
So it's
I think maybe that's why you're a little self-conscious about it, because when you're playing yourself and if you're playing yourself and you sound retarded, you're like, oh my God, I sound retarded in real life. So you might think that you actually sound like that in real life.
So that's the conclusion of that, people. I sound retarded in real life. I don't like it. Well, but anyway.
Go on to what some of the plans are. What do you have in mind?
One of the segments we plan on doing, and you guys will not truly appreciate it. I promise. The very idea that I'm even going to tell you it's gonna sound a little arrogant, almost, to some of you out there, for me to say this, but we are basically going to be doing audio. What I came up with an idea was an audio drama version, a segment where we do different episodes of audio dramas that are going to be based on true stories of things that have happened in our lives, me and my brother's life. Now everybody's like, "Oh, that sounds tedious as shit." Like, I don't want to hear about these guys acting stuff. What's that?
I'm just saying, yeah. When they hear them, they're like, "There's no way that's true." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
There's a lot of these things where you're just like, "There's no way that actually happened," and you're going to be like, "Yeah, it did." And we're, I mean, I seriously thought of writing a whole full-fledged film screenplay just on our childhood, just because it's so freaking.
Oh my God!
It's not.
You can
bad.
make a whole series of that.
Yeah, it's very odd. We have a very odd childhood. I mean, just to paint the picture for anybody who wants to get an idea of where this is going to ultimately lead into, just get this in your imagination. A trailer park surrounded by a swamp that's inside the Vietnamese village of East Side New Orleans, next to NASA and Folgers Coffee. So get that. Yeah. If that is not enough of a collage for you to go down the world of imagination, I don't know what it is, because our childhood is very, very, it's interesting, but that's just our childhood. But long story short, we just wanted to, we almost want to canonize some of these things, because these stories live and die with us. The only people that remember them are me and Josh. Our parents have gone, and everybody else in our family wasn't there. So it's like, we've got to be able to put stuff out there or nobody's ever going to hear of it. You know,
actually, so, I took a friend down to New Orleans East to go to Dong Fong Bakery, and when we went there, because my friend Shane, he knows I hate NASA. I have a major disdain for NASA, and when we went there, he just looked at me. He's like, "Oh my God, this is almost like hilarious that you grew up literally next door to NASA." And I'm like, "Yeah, huh."
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't remember what branch of NASA it was. It was like they're not
ain't doing anything in there.
I'll just say they weren't shooting the shuttles up into the quote unquote space in New Orleans, but they were doing something. But yeah, NASA, we were like a literally a couple of miles from NASA. You know, they had a big freaking rocket engine sitting out there and all kinds of stuff. But it was nonsense. But yeah, I'm just saying we had a very interesting childhood. And it's not even
we don't have to talk about it. We can just write it.
Yeah, we're not talking about it anymore. We're just gonna write some stuff, and we'll be having some episodes called. It's like, I don't know. I was thinking about calling them True Theater, True Stories, or something like that. But it'll be fun. Yeah, trust me, you guys will be fun. And we're planning on something like that.
I just came up with this idea. If you have a crazy childhood story that's absolutely bonkers, maybe you can write an audio drama about it, and you can, and then you can immortalize your childhood story in an audio drama. How fun would that be?
Yeah, that is a great idea, John. That's a great idea. Why don't you people write something? You don't even have to be creative to do that. You don't even have to be creative. All you have to do is write what happened with the characters saying what they said. and
it'd be better, it would be even better if it involved like Sasquatch or UFOs or something.
Even better. But any kind of crazy stuff that might have happened, that would be awesome. But anyways, I'm sorry I keep coughing. I've been dehydrated because I've been working out in 100-degree heat all day long, putting up putting up for a house. So yeah, it's I never asked for the blue collar life, but it's upon me. But anyway, so well, as far as that's concerned, we weren't gonna talk crazy too long about any of this. But let's just say if anybody's interested, go to Netflix and watch Black Mirror. No, I'm just kidding. But if you want to see who stole my episode, go to watch the Black Mirror.
Who stole your episode?
Yeah, want to steal my writing episode? Go watch Black Mirror Inside Number 9 on like the latest season or whatever. But don't just watch the Black Mirror one, and then turn it off about 10 minutes in, and then come listen to this one again. But anyways,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all we got going on. We really want to keep this thing going, and we've got some exciting things coming up. And also, I will say this one other thing, people. I put a lot of freaking work in our website, okay? And it may sound stupid, but if you do nothing else, go instead of just clicking on the podcast and listening to the episode, which is great. It's great. I'm not looking for anybody to be like, oh, I'm not looking for any kind of comments. I'm just saying I put a lot of work into the website, and I've got these nifty little things where every time you click play on an episode, it does an animated version of the album cover. And I think it's so freaking cool. Every time I do it, I'm like, I bet you no one is going to go to our website and look at it. Why would they do that? They have iTunes. Why would
this isn't the
on my... I want it to be the people. Okay, this is how living in the 90s I am. Hey, listen to the people. This is how living in the 90s I am right now. You may scenes you people don't even realize. I have been racking my brain and going through a million ways to try to figure out, one, how to run a website from my own server so I'm not having to go to Squarespace.com and advertise for them or whoever it is. I want to be there's just something about me that likes the idea of when somebody comes to my website, they're tapping into my computer that's sitting on my desk. I like the idea of owning it And the only thing that's ever going to shut it down is the internet itself. I like that idea. I've also ended up putting in a bunch of work trying to basically have the podcast feed run off of my computer for the same exact reason. I'm trying to eliminate all gatekeepers for no other reason than to just say that I can, because I like the idea.
And he wants to send everybody CDs of all the audio dramas.
Yeah, I want to send everybody CDs. The Netflix of audio drama. I'll send everybody CDs with album covers. So anyways, that was my unexpected rant. Go to our website, TruthTheaterRadio.com.
You said it, I don't know why it's making me laugh, so it's just so funny. Like, please go to our website. I did so much work on it.
Animated gifts, people. Animated gifts.
I don't know why it's making me laugh so much. It's ridiculous.
Live in the 90s. Animated gifts.
I'm being a professional. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'll be checking the stats on the website, seeing if you guys actually went to it to check out.
Stop it! Stop! In this conversation right now, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. This is ridiculous. You should put like little. I don't know, like you should put like what was it, like clip art or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Like little rotating skulls on fire and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. No AI was used in the creating of this gift.
Okay. Anyway, we got to wrap it up.
All right. Yeah, we got to wrap it up. Anyways, people, we're back, and we're gonna be around. Don't think we've gone anywhere. So I just pretty much say this has been another episode of Truth Theater Radio. And we're signing out.
Signing
Thanks a lot, people.
off.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too much. How's the script coming along?
Well, I think I finally finished it. I saved it to the cloud folder. This one is pretty crazy. I even have a fake mock episode where me and you are having a one-on-one conversation about future plans for the show and things like that. And I even have this hilarious rant about people going to the website and checking out the animated GIFs on each of the episodes because I put a lot of work into them. I'm even thinking of making the fake discussion like really bad quality, sort of to give it that element of realism.
Sweet. Can't wait to read it. So, what's it called?
I'm not sure. I think I'm going to call it like unscripted or off script or something like that.
Well, that's interesting. Do you know what's also interesting?
What?
You want to call it something that's about being off script.
Why is that interesting?
Because no matter how many times I've tried getting you out, you're still in the script.
Oh, come on. What are you talking about?
Jonah, you're still in the script. Snap out of it.
No. That can't be true. This is not in the script.
It is, and you are. And you have me stuck here too. You need to go off script.
I need to go off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script. off script. I need to go off script. I need to go off script.
Mr. Earl?
Oh, hi, Doc. He still looks the same.
There has been a breakthrough. Improvement, in fact.
Tell me where he got the laptop.
Actually, that was a brilliant idea from one of our interns. Before, he was just typing on the table. So the idea is to give him a computer, see exactly what he is typing.
Okay. What was it?
I have a printout here. Most of the time, he just types, "I need to go off script," over and over. 2 nights ago, he went off script, so to speak, and he wrote what you have in your hands.
What kind of breakthrough? You said there was some sort of breakthrough.
Just keep reading.
Now that is a good ending.
Writer's Block was written and edited by Jonah Earl's higher self, allegedly. Featured in the cast were Jonah Earl as himself, Joshua Earl as himself, and Karen Machingambi as the Doctor. This has been a True Theater Radio production. Copyright 2023, True Theater Radio.